Today we're making baked stuffed milkfish or bangus. Hi everyone, today we're making stuffed bangus or stuffed milkfish. For those of you that don't know, the milkfish is the national fish of the Philippines. The meat has a very tasty flavor and the fat is actually the most popular part of the fish. The downside for this fish though is extremely bony. There's lots of bones all over, so be careful when you're eating this. Usually on this recipe, I use a whole fresh milkfish. But since we moved here, you can't get anything close to what I used to have back in San Diego. This is the closest I can get, which is a butterflied milkfish. So we'll just make do with what we have, and this is my first time using this bangus, which is already butterflied. So here's what we're gonna need for our recipe. We're gonna need one whole bangus, 1 thumb of ginger, finely minced, 1 whole tomato chopped, half an onion chopped. Most people like to do a 1-to-1 ratio on the tomato and the onion, but for me I like it more on the tomato side than the onion, so that's why I'm only using half, but you can use a whole one if you want. Also, we're going to close up our fish using kitchen twine. And then we're going to place them all inside aluminum foil, seal it tight, and we can bake it or grill it. So here's the complete list of our ingredients. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make our stuffing. We're going to place our tomatoes in a strainer. I'm going to show you why later. So first we add in our tomato, then our onion, then our ginger, give it a quick mix. Now here's the important part. Since tomato has a lot of water in it, we need to drain that out by putting some salt. So just add in a pinch, give it a toss again, and another pinch of salt. Also, this is your only way of seasoning the inside of the fish, so don't be too scared to put a little more salt. You can also add in a little pepper. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit here for about 10 minutes. Let the tomato to drain out this liquid, and that's what the bowl is for, is to collect that liquid. When you stuff this in the milkfish, it's not going to get too soggy, you got liquid all over the place when you're baking it. Okay, so let's just let it sit for 10 minutes and we'll be back. So it's been about 10 minutes, and when you look, you see all that liquid that came out of the tomato. So this is ready. What we're going to do now is season our fish with a little salt. Not too much salt because remember the stuffing already has salt in it. So just season with a little salt and pepper. Next, we're going to spoon in our stuffing and place it in the middle of the fish. So what we have is just perfect. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna close our fish using kitchen twines. So try to fold them in. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to make sure that the fish is close. So just like that, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now let's place them into the foil. Before putting in the foil, I usually spray it with nonstick spray so that when it's done cooking, the skin doesn't stick to the foil. So if you have a cooking spray, you can spray it a little. Then you can add in the milkfish in the middle. Then we're gonna close it up. The important part for this, make sure you have everything tightly sealed because you want the steam to fully cook that fish. So it's nice and tight and snug like that. Make sure there's no hole so that the air will not escape. So just like that. Now it's time to cook. Since our milkfish fits in this small tray, we can just use the air fryer to cook this instead of using a whole oven. But you can use the oven if you want. Also, it's best if you can grill it over charcoal. That'll be even better. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna bake it for 30 minutes and then flip it upside down, cook it for another 20 minutes. Then after that, we're gonna uncover it and then put it in broil for about 3 minutes so that the skin will get nice and crispy. So first, let's set our heat to bake for 30 minutes. Okay, once our oven is preheated, place the fish in and just let it cook for 30 minutes, and then after that we'll flip it over and cook it for another 20 minutes. Alright, so our fish is done. Let's pull it out, set it somewhere safe, and we're gonna open that up so we can brown the skin. Be careful, it's very hot. So as you can see, we've removed the cover, we removed the foil. So what we're gonna do now is place it back in the oven and place it under broil and broil it for 3 minutes so that we get a nice crispy skin. So place it back. Set it to broil, 3 minutes, and that should be done after that. All right, let's go check on our fish. This looks actually perfect like the way it is. So let's pull it out. What we're gonna do now is set it aside, let it cool down a bit so that we can, so it won't burn us when we're trying to remove the cover. So here's our fish. We're just gonna let it cool down a bit before removing the kitchen twine so that we don't burn ourselves. Okay, our fish should be cool enough to the touch. So what we're gonna do is remove this string or the kitchen twine. Yeah, careful, it's gonna stick to your fish. It's okay if you kind of tear apart the flesh. Okay, now we're gonna place it in a plate. Alright, so now let's give it a cut. There you go. Still very hot, so be careful. So that's pretty much it. Simple, very tasty, but do be careful with the bones. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.